Hey everybody, it's Sarah Paikai and Jen Kem here, and welcome to a very special live taping that we have of our fireside chats where we have submissions of questions that Jen and I are going to dive in and answer. Super excited. Can I get it here for the crowd? We have some amazing women leaders who we're going to be tagging and putting in the comments below when we share this, but let's dive into the questions. Because we try to keep these, 15 minutes, keep attention spans, all the algorithm jazz. So we're going to dive right in. If your mic works.
We even have YouTube experts in the house, so
Yes.
Let's see how we do.
Okay, let's see. Okay, so the next question comes from a service provider, and she asked, how do I go from being a solopreneur to a team leader?
So I'm going to answer this a little bit differently. How many of you identify as solopreneurs right now? Okay, so your first hire is two roles, okay, two roles. The first is a mobilizer who organizes your work stuff, that goes into your work stuff and says, we're gonna organize them in these categories. We have a structure for it inside of the Unicorn Team Framework that tells you exactly what needs to get organized. Because if you're not organized, then you can never trust anybody to take it on. So the conversation literally is, I have these things that I have to organize that I'm not good at organizing. And that's the other part. You should tell them you're not good at it. Because every time you come to save them, because you're mad, because they didn't do it how you thought, if you admit up front that you just aren't good at it and you expect them to be subject matter experts in their role, that's their job, not your job. But if you don't give them the dignity and respect to know that you don't actually want a part of it, but you want to have a dialogue about it, that's the leadership edge, friends. That's the part where it's like, I know we're busy and we're driving, but just that extra conversation will change the dynamic. Or you'll find out that they're not a good fit for you. So I think a mobilizer in that area first. That's your first job. Because after that, because it's organized in, this is not in scope today, but Sarah has 5 areas of your business that need to be organized. So you want them to organize that. And then the next person you need to hire is a marketing strategizer. And you will not be able to afford one full-time for a long time. Because marketing strategizers are people who know how to do ads, social media, campaign strategy, branding, copywriters, funnels, So here's the thing. You have to use, you don't have to do anything, but I recommend that you use the Unicorn Team Framework to manage your contractors as well as your employees. This is another breakdown that happens. If you work for us, we're gonna onboard you, we want you to understand our values and our system. And then when they come in and go, we don't use Teamwork PN, we use ClickUp, we do this, we do that, we're like, okay, you're not a good fit. I'm not jonesing for you, boo-boo, okay? And you shouldn't be jonesing for me because I'm making you do more work that you're not good at. So we only work with people who consider themselves freelance, not agencies, except for in the Facebook ads and Meta and all that. We don't work with agencies anywhere except for paid advertising on purpose because we want people to go, I'm a really great copywriter and all I want to do is write, right? And then you're looking for this magical unicorn that can do it all. And actually, you need to get good at your messaging first. So you need somebody to help you with messaging so you can be clearly articulating how you help people. So those are the first 2 I would focus on roles that you want to be looking to hire. And then having the dialogue with them that way.
And then I think I would go one step backwards from that as well, which is some of you who are solopreneurs, whether you're our live audience in the room or you're watching on YouTube, you have to make the decision that you are going to hire a team. I've had clients in the past who consider themselves solopreneurs, and they're like back and forth and back and forth. I'm going to hire, but it's hard, and then it's payroll, and it's extra expense, and I could do this, but I can't. But I can do this, but I don't want to pay for it, but I can't. All this back and forth. And by the time they finally settle down, they're like, no, I'm absolutely not going to hire. I said, well, then you're not going to grow, which is okay if you're happy with what it looks like exactly now. And so making that very clean decision That it's not about whether you're competent to do it sooner, quicker, faster, cheaper, better than somebody you hire. It's asking yourself, are you really actually committed to the growth that you envision in your mind?
You want to tell them the 5 areas just because I know they're going to want to know, huh? You guys
Yes.
want to know the 5 areas you got to organize in your business? Tell them the 5.
Okay, so the acronym is COMMS, like short for communications.
COMMS.
On purpose. Client services, operations, marketing, management, and sales. Okay, COMMS. And that's on purpose because sometimes you find someone who can wear the C and the M hat, or the C and the S hat, or the O and the S hat, but you have to assume that there needs to be very, very clear distinction of what you need in client services, operations, marketing, management, sales. We have separate KPIs in our company for all those 5 areas. And one person may do 3, one person may only do 1 department. I do all 5 in our company at any given time as needed. But the metrics for what you're owning in each of those departments is what you have to have organized. So to Jen's point, if you're like, wow, that was a lot, and I'm just trying to hire, I'm a solopreneur, start with operations. Start with getting your schedule cleaned up, your customer service inbox cleaned up. If you start with those 2 areas, communications or meeting agenda for everything that you go into with the rest of your team, KPIs for the year, that's all operations types of stuff. Find with somebody who can help you, a mobilizer who can help you get organized in those areas. That's going to make the biggest difference in the beginning. And again, that conversation of, well, I can check my inbox. It doesn't take me more than 15 minutes. Or I can leave it unread, all the things in here that are unread. That's totally fine. That's what's screwing you up right now from hitting your revenue number.
Because you don't have any space.
No space.
No
And
space for
all
S or
of these
M.
open loops that you're carrying in your brain.
Right, because in the beginning, you're not going to like this answer, but when you're a solopreneur, you actually have to be in charge of the M and the S called marketing and sales. You can't delegate that in the beginning. You can try. You're going to be sad, okay? You're going to be really sad. But my goal all the time is to fire myself from comms. That's my goal as a visionizer. If I got to go out there and sell the pony show, then we're not doing our job as a company. We're not living our values. We're not using the unicorn team framework. So, and by the way, as Sarah admitted, we do jump in when we have to. Cash flow issues, we've done, and we will still do that. We're not perfect, because there's no such thing as that, a perfect business. But more so that we understand and we're not resentful that we have to jump in because we know maybe market conditions have changed, or we just lost a team member. I saw a question about, I lost my content manager. How do I, what should I do now? And that's examples of those are real things that happen, and you got to look at the comms and go, where's the impact and where maybe we have to jump back in. But if you have that structure, it helps you make that decision. Does that make sense?
And I think it also helps you not to fire hose or overwhelm the competent people on your team. Because that's another thing, right? If you hire someone who's good at what they do, all of a sudden it's like, oh, this relief, I'm going to give them all the things because they're so great. And as a mobilizer, I can tell you that's the worst thing possible. We need time for space and integration to get our hands around it, to get our minds around it. Just because we tell you we understand doesn't mean that that's real. You'll know that we actually understand when the work starts being done to at least 80% of how you would do it. That's the only time we really understand. And you have to have the patience to have those communications, to get better at your communications, so that we can show you then by our improved performance that we understand what you're looking and you're asking for.
Yes.